As Kendo coaches, we invest a massive amount of time and energy into running our clubs and teaching our students. And not only can this be exhausting, sometimes despite our best intentions and efforts, people simply disappear without a trace. I've been coaching for 2.5 decades now, so I've seen a lot of people come and go. Obviously, this is massively frustrating, but it did get me thinking about what it is that people are actually looking for from the club and my trainings, and what I can do to better provide that. It boiled down to two fundamental aspects: progress towards their goals and enjoying the training environment, and having these feelings consistently over time. If I could address these areas effectively, I knew that I could increase the chances of them staying with us. And this realization is at the heart of what I want to share with you today, because it led me to discover the importance of thinking through, like really clearly thinking through, my coaching philosophy. Having clarity on this meant that I could have more purpose in the way I structured training, the type of feedback I gave, and the culture that I was influencing. And this means much more consistency in members' experiences. Basically, clarity about what I was trying to coach meant that the training environment was more consistent. People got to know and resonate with my outlook on Kendo and would be more inclined to stick at their training for longer as a result. Okay, so it's not a silver bullet to keep people in the club forever, but it can be a way to provide consistency in coaching because we better understand why we do what we do and what we want people to feel as members of our clubs. Now, a coaching philosophy isn't just a fancy term, it's a roadmap. For me, it was like a guiding star. It gave me a clear purpose and kept me in a lane, and it helped me understand what was influencing my decisions, my interactions, and the messages I imparted to my students. Going through the process that I'm going to share with you in just a minute was a chance for me to rethink what I wanted for my students. It was a chance to think about how I was going to help them feel like they were making progress and enjoy the overall club experience. Honestly, getting this sorted was a foundational moment that started to strengthen the club because people knew what I stood for and got on board for the long haul. Okay, so let's talk about how to create a coaching philosophy. Now, this does take time, but it's an investment that pays off. I've got a worksheet for you to download and work through in the description below, but here are some questions to get you started. Take your time to pause the video and answer these questions. What do my students need from me? How can I help them achieve their goals? And what unique role can I play in their journey? I'll share my own coaching philosophy with you in just a minute, but before that, I've got a coaching question for you. What do you consider to be the biggest influence on your Kendo coaching so far? Do you want to recreate the experiences that you went through, or are you trying to give people a different experience to what you had altogether? The reason that I ask this is because the research shows that the way we were coached plays a huge part in how we coach in turn. And taking the time to think through this is a really important first step in changing things up in our coaching for the better. Drop a comment below to get the conversation started. As I said, crafting my philosophy was a turning point. It helped me to crystallize my coaching approach and actually keep students engaged over time because they knew what I stood for simply by the trainings that I led as a result of this clarity. And the research supports this too. Cassidy and colleagues emphasized that a clear coaching philosophy sets the tone for a consistent and fulfilling experience. So I started by asking some grounding questions like why I want to coach and what kind of coach am I? I also questioned myself around what kind of coach I want to be and what influenced me to think the way that I do. And importantly, does my thinking about coaching allow me opportunities to get better? From there, I tried to see it from my students' perspective. And I asked myself, if I was a student in this club, what kind of coach would I want? What kind of lessons would I want to learn by doing Kendo here? For a long time, my view has been that the coach, especially a Kendo coach, is not just an instructor. We don't coach Kendo, we coach people. If I really thought about the lessons my coaches taught me, like the power of perseverance or the joy found in effort, and appreciating where I stand is based on the hard work of many others, all the technical stuff and all the cool wazza were only a small part of the bigger picture. I managed to hang in there and get my doctorate thanks to these types of values. So recognizing the educative and social potential of my Kendo experience became a massive part of my philosophy. This clarity about my philosophy of coaching began to influence what I read, what I shared, what messages I tried to impart, and how I went about interacting with people. And although I haven't been able to keep them coming back forever, it was by focusing on the things that are in my control, my guiding philosophy, that I'd been able to keep more people coming back for longer periods of time. learning more, and being way more satisfied with the club experience. And I like to think that this leaves the door open for people who did move on for whatever reason to come back because they enjoyed a more purposeful and meaningful experience while they were in the club. What else could I ask for, right? So here's the bottom line. For me, thinking through my coaching philosophy was key to increasing our club's chances of retaining members because it created a sense of direction for all of us. And that supported a club culture that people wanted to be part of over time. The key thing to remember though is that your philosophy is not something to be written in ink. Your philosophy will change as your circumstances change and as the club and its members evolve. This means that we need to rethink and rework our philosophy sometimes, and the way to do this effectively is with a good handle on reflection. Check out this video where I cover off the easiest and most effective ways that I've found to reflect on my coaching, evolve as a result, and increase the chances people will stick at Kendo in the process.